Hi Venkat, how are you?
Fine, Mahi.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Again, we are meeting after a couple of days,
that is right.
and this is our second episode with you.
Yeah,
So, welcome to my show, Business in 365.
my pleasure, Mahi.
So, our channel is mainly into focusing business owners and professionals.
Okay,
So, it's our pleasure and privilege to have you today with us.
thank you. My pleasure too.
Yeah. So, earlier we spoke about your HR, your journey on HR and all. So, you also were talking to me something like how the HR is helping build businesses. So could you throw some light on that?
Okay, in the previous episode, we were talking about startups focusing on the core business area and how HR builds the organization that enables the organization to grow to the next level.
Okay.
Now, when you look at organizations across the globe, whether they are matured or whether they are startups or whether in the journey towards the growth story, you will find that every organization depends on two important people. One,
Okay.
the leader, and two, the follower.
Okay.
If the leader gives the right direction and the followers are capable enough to take the directions and run, the organizations become very successful.
Okay.
Let's look at examples across the Indian business arena. You'll see successful organizations like Tata's had written, who's a visionary, who
Yeah.
put forward, and he built a group of people, CEOs, who carried that vision forward.
Yeah.
Similarly, the Ambanis,
Yeah.
the Adanis, everyone has a leader who has a vision, or be it Anand Mahindra. They have a vision for or not only the organization, but for the people as well as for the nation. So that itself, signifies or amplifies the fact that human resource is the most important resource that an organization needs to go to the success.
So you need a strong leader to take you forward.
Definitely, yes.
But the people who follow the leaders, how do you select them? Like how do you identify them? Because the leaders have a vision. They can direct. They show you the direction how to reach your goals. And how do they pick up people?
See, one of the factor that I have been talking and I had highlighted in my previous episode was also more than the organization. It is more than the job fit, the organization fit, or the cultural fit that is more important for the organization to grow.
Okay.
Now, let us look at the thing. A leader needs to identify people who accept his vision and who are ready to work for that cause. And for that matter, they need to have a belief in the system that their vision and the vision of the leader are matching somewhere. If they are contradictory and they are 180-degree apart,
Different.
what really happens is then there is no coming together, and what happens, that really creates a problem in building organization. So even if the leader has got a big vision for himself, but his downline leaders don't accept that, then it's a fall.
Right. So they have to identify themselves.
With the purpose and the vision of the leader.
Wonderful. So what do you have to say about team building? Well, team building is very important. For any business.
One of the classic examples I can mention here about team building is the Jack Welch school.
Okay.
He has been a factory of producing CEOs across America. You name the CEO, they would have come from his school. And his focus of building leaders was not delegating the responsibility and saying you do this business and bring back. His idea of developing a leader is to spend time with him, understand him, and take him for a purpose that he also feels important. If you don't make the leader feel that important for the purpose that he is running for, he is not going to work. Let us look at other examples in the sporting arena, Why is that, people like Dravid or people like Shastri become successful coaches? It is simple that, they understood that the purpose has to be carried forward to the team. Now, if that purpose is not carried forward, the team is not going to perform.
Yes. There has to be perfect sync
Yes.
between the leaders and the team. Wonderful. So that was about team building and how the leader and the team should sync. How do you see today's scenario with the new youngsters coming in the field and creating their own empire? They want to get into startups and create their own empire.
See, I have gone through a lot of journey on the startup, and I firmly believe that, the purpose of driving the startup has to be having two major focus. Any startup need to be successful should have an innovative idea that can change the life of the people. Point one. Second, there should be a social cause attached to that. Now, what happens is you need to understand that a lion fails 75% of the time on his hunt. That doesn't mean that, it's not mighty. Why I'm saying this is we need to understand that all our ideas, though might be the best, there's a chance that it may not take off. But we need to have the perseverance in us to, take it back and re-roll it and, present it in such a way that there's an acceptance for the idea, there's an acceptance for the whole ecosystem.
Okay. So what you're saying is they have to have patience and
True.
keep going after it, and it will
Yes.
happen.
Yeah.
It has to happen.
So let us remember, Rome was not built on a single day. That's
True, very true.
true.
Yes. Yes.
So you need to have that patience and that determination that you will do and you will work towards what you want to achieve. If you don't get into that, then what happens is you tend to give up. And once you give up, it's very difficult to come back to the same idea. Let's look at it how businesses have been built. Today, one of the easy ways I create a market value and I sell it off. That's the easiest way for a successful businessman to come out. He doesn't want to, burn his, effort on, building a bigger empire. It's easy for him to, grow from 0 to 100 and 100 to 200 and then sell it off for, 1,000. He gets a huge profit of about 800. Easy. But if I have to build the organization which will last long, say go from 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 to 4,000, that's a long journey that he has to take, and that it requires a lot of effort. Building an organization from 0 to 100 is easy. Building an organization from 100 to 1,000 to 2,000 is much more difficult.
Difficult, yes, yes.
That requires a different effort.
I totally agree with you. So you see, there are a lot of changes now. Like earlier, things were different, and now there's a lot of technologies, and people are talking about AI and all those things. So how is it helping you in team building?
See, let us, when I talk about technology intervention, I had already spoken about it in my previous episode also, that every 5 years, a new generation is born. And they are much more tech savvy than the previous generation. Now, what has AI brought to the picture? Let us understand. There are two facets of AI. One is the data crunching and helping you understand what could be the predictive, future if you go in this direction. That is one part of it. The second part of it is recreating something you have never seen. For example, let us look at it. You have not heard the voices of leaders like Lincoln or Nehru or Gandhi. AI helps you create based on that thing, and you can reproduce it. You would have seen that in a video that would have been circulated in WhatsApp, how the speech of Obama was, modulated and brought in as if he's addressing a set of students and talking about AI. Now, two advantages are there. You see, what is seeing is believing, they say, right?
Right.
Now, when I create something which Gandhi spoke about and I represent it through an AI, what happens is at least the people start understanding, okay, this is how it was. Now, look at it from a data crunching point. If you look at the whole set of data that is there, you really don't understand what is that data going to give you. But AI tools help in crunching the data and saying, okay, it's not all about the means and averages and mode and all those things. That's let us forget it for the time being. It is more like your GPS system. It gives you a direction whether you're going forward or you need to take a stop or you need to take a break or turn, divert. Now, this is what AI is actually bringing into the business. And what happens is I might have the best of whatever I want to present, but is the world receptive to what I am doing? AI gives you a feeling. Instead of looking at how people are responding to you individually, you give the product, you see the Google reviews, you see other reviews, all you bring in together, you know where the problem lies. If you're ready to address that, you grow. If you're not ready to address it, you fail.
Right. You need to understand the problem.
That is right. That's where AI helps you because, huge amount of data, you can mentally work on that.
Right.
AI does that for you.
Wonderful. Wonderfully put across. So one important question that I would love to ask you, they say AI is coming into the market in a very big way, in any sector for that matter. So they say people will lose their jobs. Is it true?
Mahi, I think we have addressed it in our previous episode also. See, any technology that comes in, people have a fear whether it is going to hit my job.
Right.
Let us look at it 3 decades before. There was a huge, unrest within the banking industry, within the insurance industry, within the railways, within the BSNL, and all government organizations for that matter. And they were all opposing what? Computerization. They said if a computer comes, 2 people will lose their job. Where 3 people are there, 2 people will lose the job. Only 1/3 is required. Look at the situation today. An organization like State Bank of India or be it LIC of India, they're all computerized.
Yeah.
And they don't want personal interference in the work. They say, you don't even come to me. Everything is online. You just click a button, you just make the payment. Why do you want to come to me? There's no requirement. But the same organization 30 years back was resisting this change.
Right.
Now, if I keep telling people that this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, people are going to believe that. Now, instead of that, what is there for us? Every change, brings in a new set of requirements that are required. And people need to adapt. What happens is people are resisting change. They don't want to adapt. If they don't want to adapt, it is very difficult to grow.
But that's a natural human tendency which you overcome over a period of time. Initially, there's always a resistance for any change.
Yeah. See, that's exactly what Maslow told in his theory, right? So you have the basic requirement, you fulfill it, then you start looking for something more. So what happens is people are not resisting change. They are resisting the state in which they are. See, for a person who is in the first generation, for him, what is required is a food, clothing, and shelter.
Yes.
Now, when he sees a change that is coming his way, and he fears that this could impact me personally, He's not worried about the job. He's more worried about his survival. Let us understand that. That is why, people resist change. Now people have understood, the generations have gone far forward, and they've understood that this is going to be there and I need to adapt. If I adapt, my lifestyle is going to grow one notch up.
Yes.
It is not going to stay same.
Right, very right, very right. So, anything else you would like to say before we wrap up regarding your
See,
40
see again,
HR and business, team building?
see, organizations start with a purpose, with a product in mind, or with a service in mind. And like many top gurus keep saying, the person who has developed that idea or the purpose for which he is building the organization, he has more faith in himself and starts working in all the areas.
Yes.
But as the organization grows, he has to realize that he is not the whole sole proprietor of all the processes.
Yeah.
The processes are built by people, and you need to develop leaders to carry forward your legacy. If Ratan had not, identified leaders to take care of each and every vertical of the business, he would not have been successful. Leaders need to believe that they need to move forward and not be in the execution chair. If they are in the execution chair, they will tend to fail. If they want to grow, they need to move away from the execution chair to strategic thinking and strategic guidance. See, it is not just thinking, it is about guiding people. If I don't have a strategy to guide people, I will fail.
Right, very nice. That's really very true. And that was nice to know so much about team building and the leadership. So thank you so much, Venkat.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Please do like, subscribe, and watch.